Tomorrow, and I hope it'll be a pleasure to vote for the bill.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from Henry County, Senator Reynolds.
Mr. President, speaking to the measure,
Senator has the floor.
There's one very frequent occurring complication that makes this bill necessary. You've heard that the responsibility is upon the final note holder to notify the owner that they are now the note holder. Well, what happens if the note holder dies? I mean, if the owner dies, or what happens if the homeowner develops forgetfulness and cannot recall who the person is or whether he ever received notice as to who the actual note holder? Mr. President, if we pass this, you'll be able to determine it by going to the clerk's office and looking up the record. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Powhatan, Senator Watkins.
President, speaking to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, Senator, I never went to law school, so I never got real estate 101. I have in my lifetime had the opportunity to work, however, within the small banking industry and the small banking business. And I've been pulled through some knotholes in that business. And you've got ready to put in a knothole that most of us can't get through if we do this. Now, I recognize the importance of the chain of title, particularly when it comes to actions such as some banks have to take concerning such things as foreclosure. But here's what you're going to do if you do this. You're going to encumber this state and the citizens of this state trying to get mortgages in their ability to access capital for mortgages. The people that finance the mortgage industry in this country today, and ladies and gentlemen, it's not just this country, this is a global industry. This reaches far outside of this country. What you're going to do to the little banks is you're going to find the emphasis move to some of the commercial activity and business activity and away from the residential activity. What you're going to do with the big banks and the medium-sized banks is you're going to remove from them the access to capital to be able to provide mortgages. So we're looking at a point in time here in Virginia where the housing industry, the home building industry in particular, is in dire need of the ability to borrow money and build houses and then turn around and sell them with mortgages. This is going to cripple it, at least in the short term. This will cripple it. Now, I don't disagree with the two gentlemen, and legal scholars they are, that we need a better chain of title. And I would say to you that were it not for three major Virginia organizations called Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and MERS, all of whom are located with the good lady from Northern Fairfax up in the Reston area, they're Virginia businesses. MERS was put together primarily at the behest of large banks and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And the reason it was put together was to have a mechanism where the mortgage industry, and particularly the banking and mortgage industry, could access capital that otherwise was not available. And that capital is available through securitization. Now, I've read the books. I don't say that I understand it all either. And I don't particularly like the way this thing came down in terms of the mortgage debacle. But we can't remake history. And we can't remake it in this bill. There's some good parts to this, and there's some good ideas in terms of how we need to implement this thing to get better transparency. But I would say to you, you're going to clog up the courthouses and you're going to clog up the mortgage industry and its ability to access capital to provide mortgages to the citizens of the Commonwealth of Virginia if you pass something like this. Like I said, I'm a small business banker, and I know what it will do to us. And there are going to be a lot of others that are going to have the same problem we are. I don't disagree with the principle. I just disagree with the mechanism. We've got to find something that's a little more modern and a little more technology friendly, if you would, before we jump off on this end. I urge you to not report the bill.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from Stafford County, Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, would the gentleman from Fairfax please resume the floor for a question?
Will the Senator from Fairfax City yield for a question?
Yes, sir.
Senator yields. Senator from Stafford County, Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would ask the gentleman, practically speaking, how do you accomplish this? If I understand the way we do this in circuit court record rooms now, there is a document which in fact has been recorded and it's indexed so that if a title examiner is doing the title work on this piece of property, they can find that security instrument. Practically speaking, how would you accomplish what he intends to accomplish?
Senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
I would answer the gentleman as follows. I actually spoke to John Fry, the clerk of Fairfax County, a couple of weeks ago, and it's possible right now that they have electronic filing. You could download this form, which would essentially be a recordation of assignment form, and file it online. That would be the easiest and most seamless way to do it. I can't tell the gentleman standing here today that every courthouse in this Commonwealth has that capability, but practically speaking, within a couple of years, that would be how I see it being accomplished.
Senator from Stafford County, Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, would the gentleman yield for another question?
I yield.
Senator yields. Senator from Stafford County, Senator Stewart.
Mr. President, I would ask the gentleman further, assuming that you are able to file something and file it electronically or manually, as in many of the courthouses would require in the state of Virginia, how do you index that back to the security instrument? So that if someone is searching the title and they can find that security instrument, how do you intend to have the clerks post this new assignment to show that it's secured to the property? How do you intend to practically accomplish that? And have you addressed this with the clerks?
Senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd answer the gentleman that, you know, in terms of the technical details, I couldn't answer him, but it is existing law that you could file this recordation right now. And again, when I've talked to the clerks, some people do file these recordations. I believe the gentleman from Suffolk testified in committee that he had done that as a matter of practice earlier in his career.